Hello, everyone. My name is Kyle Zentars. I am a counselor at the SUNY Oswego Counseling Center, and this video is a display of something that I found really relaxing and calming called a Zentangle. Zentangles are meant to be very mindful, artistic approaches to drawing. It's really about the process of just selecting patterns and doing repetition. There's been a good amount of research that shows how repetition helps us to relax internally. It calms our body down, it calms our mind down. And I think for the time being, the more that we have that allows us to feel settled or grounded, the better. So I have an interesting relationship with Zentangles. I started doing them right after I'd graduated grad school, and I was feeling very anxious one night. I didn't have friends or family around that I could really reach out to at that time. I was just kind of stuck with this feeling. It was late at night, so it's not like I could go out. I think the weather was bad. I needed something. So I had this desire to go get a sketch pad and some markers and just kind of see what happened. So I drove out to Walmart, I picked up some stuff, came back, and I'd stumbled into some patterns online, just drawing repetitive patterns and seeing kind of how they turn out like a mosaic of some kind. I really liked it, and I figured that was something that was doable. I mean, you could take a bunch of lines and just kind of repeat the same thing. It doesn't take too much artistic merit to do. And I really found that just putting some calming music on, having like a show going in the background, and then just taking a very fine point Sharpie and starting to draw lines, and lines that kind of mattered to me. Each one to ensure that the shape stays somewhat similar. It takes some patience and slow moving. So I found that the more attentive I was to how the line was turning out, the more focused I was on the actual drawing. And it was interesting because I think I allowed myself to just kind of get into the act of making lines. I knew the pattern I was going for. I just started kind of letting it happen naturally. I followed with whatever desire I had to create a new pattern or try something, and then I just kind of built them as I went. So if you're watching this, I mean, I think a lot of what it is experimentation. So you can look online if you're uncomfortable with trying to create your own patterns to start out. I remember finding like a Pinterest post, and that gave me a lot of ideas to work with. But it became a lot easier. I started to experiment with those kind of patterns. I tried out some of the things that you're seeing me do in this video, where I was just making lines, and then I would try and do something to maintain that repetition. I tend to work kind of in the corners. I've noticed in my own work of just kind of starting in the corners and building inward. I think as it comes together, you can start to be a little more flexible. So do you want a lot of space in yours? Do you want it to be fully filled in? Do you want a certain type of pattern? Do you like straight lines? Do you like having something wavy? Do you like circular shapes or triangles, squares? I think it's just kind of paying attention to what's appealing to you. It's not meant to be for anybody else. It's meant to be just the act of letting yourself do something grounding. And I think that's important when we're stressed out. And some of you might try this and have a totally opposite experience that I did, where it might stress you out because you need to feel like this is something that has to turn out like perfect, that idea of perfection. So if that's the case, I mean, I would challenge you to sit with the feeling of, oh, that line didn't turn out as great as I wanted it to. And maybe try and be okay with that in this. This isn't for a grade. It doesn't have to be put up on Instagram. It really can just be for you. So I would encourage you to just experiment with what it feels like when something doesn't work out how you expected it as well. Let that be okay. So maybe this is a drawing that just has that imperfection. But just let yourself kind of get lost in it. I think that's the key. As it comes together, I think you'll start to see things that you would try again, that you may start a new drawing and test out. You might have new ideas that arise, but you don't have space for it. So I would say just kind of take a nice calm approach to it, set up a nice environment for yourself, and just go for it. See what you create, see where it takes you, and I would say just roll with it. One interesting fact about this is actually the last page of that sketch pad that I mentioned that I bought on that eventful, anxious-filled night. I decided to do this activity and I didn't even realize that until I grabbed the sketch pad. And as soon as I opened it up to see what the next page was, it was the last one. And I think that's an interesting way to have some closure with it. So I figured I'd share, try it out, see what you come up with. And if you feel like sharing it, we'll keep that open for you to submit. If you want to post or if you want to tag us, by all means, go for it. But if you want it to just be for you, that's even better. I think in some ways it's relaxing when we don't have to stress the reactions or the fear of reactions. So however you want to, if you choose to share it, wonderful. If not, I get it. But I hope it's relaxing at this tense time and maybe something that allows you to just step out of all of that anxiety, stress, tension, to make something a little creative. So hope you have a good rest of your day, and feel free to share anything that you'd like to. Thanks. Bye.